Hello, students. Good morning. Today we are going to see the third unit of the first chapter, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. The name of the third unit is The Age of Revolution, and it's between 1830 to 1848. Okay, so we can classify this age of revolution into three. So the first one is the romantic imagination and the national feeling. And the second one is hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. And finally, the revolution of the liberals. So first we are going to the romantic imagination and the national feeling. So here we all know that what is meant by romantic imagination? It's nothing but use of our culture to create the idea of nation. So how can our culture be exposed and through which the thought of nationalism can be spread? It is mainly through the poetry, stories, music, and everything, right? So because people will be having interest only in that. So that's why they thought through that only they can able to create the thirst of nationalism in them. And for that, the romantic artists and the poets, they generally criticize the glorification of the reason and science, so that they could uh, touch the emotions, intuition, and also the mystic feelings. Okay, ma'am. And they used for that art, poetry, stories, music, dances, and everything to create that feeling. And not only that, they went to various places and they collected folklores, the old folklores, to spread the nationalism even among the illiterate people, because the illiterate people, they cannot able to understand what these guys are saying. So for them, if it is in the form of song, or if it is in the form of a drama, or if it is in the form of dances, they could enjoy it, they could understand it, and they could motivate themselves towards the thought of nationalism. That is the reason they collected folklores from various areas. Okay, ma'am. And here we all know that only the language is the very important thing, and it is the one that played a vital role. Without language, we can't able to spread the idea of nationalism. And for that, you can even learn in our book the Russian people, they were, you know that the great powers, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, they they partitioned this Poland area, and they were dominating this, which you can see even in the restoration of Bourbon dynasty. This Poland was given control under various places. So though it was partition, the Poland people, they were having the national feeling, and they thought that their national feeling can be shown only through the use of their language. Though the Russian people, what they said, you should use only Russian language, you should study even in your schools the Russian language. But even then, in churches and many areas, they used the Polish language, and even because of that, the priests and bishops were arrested and they were sent to Siberia as a punishment for using this language. But even then, the Polish language in England, that came to be seen as the symbol of the struggle against this Russian dominance. Okay, ma'am. And then we are coming to the hunger, hardship, and revolt. So by the year 1830s, what happened? There was a great economic hardship. There was no money in Europe. And the first half of the 19th century, they saw many enormous increase in population. In that year, many people gave birth to child, and the population of that particular area increased drastically. Once if the population becomes drastic, what all the problems they will be facing? First thing is, there is no jobs. Most of the people suffered with unemployment, right? And the next thing is, because of that unemployment, large scale rural people, they migrated from rural villages to cities. mainly to the overcrowded cities and slum areas, so that at least they will be getting any jobs in the cities. Okay, and next thing is, even in towns they were having many problems, because of the industrialization, because of machine made goods that got popular and that was sold in a very cheap rate. There was a stiff competition between the handmade goods and the cheap machine goods. This was the problem, and the people who are doing this handmade goods, they had a stiff competition. They have to give their goods in a very less rate, so that they couldn't earn any profit. Okay, and then when we are coming to the next thing, we all know that though this middle class people, this the aristocracy people, they were having huge lands, huge estates, and they were having many people under them for working. They were living a powerful life. But when we are coming to peasants, the peasants were burdened with feudal dues, as in rural areas. But in the other side, aristocracy people were still enjoying the power. And when we are coming to the next thing, if you know that if the population is more and if the production of food is less, automatically the price of the food will get raised. So that's what happened. And two reasons: one thing is huge population, no economy, and the third thing is bad harvest. So what happened? The rise of food prices of the year of bad harvest, that led to white pauperism. Pauperism means people started begging for their food. Okay, pauperism in town and country, and many people, what happened? They came out of their houses to roads. For what? Because they don't have any job to do, they don't have food to have live. So the peasants and the weavers, they started revolting against this Louis Philippe. So that Louis Philippe thought that the people in this revolt, they would kill him. So he went out of that area. He fled out of that area. And when we are coming to the revolution of the liberals, we can study one main thing, that is, this revolution of liberals took place in the year 1848, and the French monarchy, I said you, the French king rule, that was uprooted by the revolt of 1848. And the people by themselves, the revolutionists by themselves, they proclaimed the area to be a republic one. Okay, and not only that, but they had a demand, the demand of the liberal middle class people, for constitutionalism with national unification. Yeah, because you all know that what was the main concept or main idea or main aim of the liberal nationalists? They want a constitutional monarchy. So that was the main demand. So they asked for constitutionalism. They want constitution for, along with the national unification. They want unification as well as constitution. That was the thing they demanded. And on the other hand, in Germany, professional businessmen and these artisans, they thought, okay, anyway we can make a constitution. So they created German National Assembly, and all these professional businessmen and artisans, they decided to vote for that German National Assembly. And that was the thing. But there was one more problem, that only the people having land, their own land, they only were given the right to vote at that time. Okay, and because of that, anyhow, finally they created this German National Assembly, and they thought they could create a Frankfurt Parliament, and they organized it in which area? Church of St. Paul. And the constitution was drafted for a German nation to be headed by whom? Monarchy, I said you. And who was that particular king? It's Louis Philippe. They thought that they could keep Louis Philippe as their head. But what happened? Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's not Louis Philippe. It's a Frederick William. Sorry, it's Frederick William. And they thought of offering the crown to the Frederick William IV, King of Prussia. So that they thought that let him rule the country, and the constitution help the people in amending various rules and various procedures. But what happened? This Frederick William is also a king. He also like to rule the people by himself, not with the help of constitution. So what he did? No, I don't want your crown, and I am not interested to become the king of this what a king of you all, head of you all. So he went and again supported other kings who supported monarchy, so that he rejected and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. This is what happened. Okay, and not only that, after joining with other kings who supported monarchy, the people, what happened? The military, the army of the kings, they came to that area. They beaten up all the people who wanted to create constitution and parliament, and they were beaten up. And finally, what happened? The Frankfurt Parliament was forced to dissolve. Okay, this is what happened. Okay, and what else had? The social base of parliament shifted to middle class dominance. So the people who wanted to create this parliament, they also thought of dominating the people. Mainly, I said you, the people who are middle class and rich people, they were only supporting these people. So what they thought, if their idea of rule that comes to existence, they can control the artisans, they can control the peasants, they can have the serfdoms. That's what they thought. And they lost the support of, because of when the ordinary peasants and workers, they come to know about the thought of these middle class people, they lost the support of workers and artisans, this middle class people. And the political associations were also formed by women for political rights, because I said you, excuse me, I'm sorry. So the only landowning people and only the gents were given the right to vote. Because of that, what happened? The women were also constantly struggling for their right to vote and also their participation in the politics. And finally, as no one has given them importance, they started their own political associations. They formed it, and they were fighting through that political associations for their political rights. Okay, and they even had many political meetings. Okay, and in the other side, the conservative forces, that is the conservatism, the people who are undergoing conservatism, that forces means they used the force of kings to suppress whom? The liberals. This went on the other side. And because of this, slowly what happened? Fearing future revolutions, monarchs introduced changes. So now itself, the liberalism people, liberal nationalists, and the nationalist people, they were fighting for their freedom. So if we leave them like this, they will again fight. So we should suppress them now itself. That was the thought of this conservative people and also the thought of these kings. If we are leaving them, again they will say that we don't want king's rule, we want constitution. So these people, they introduced many changes. Okay, but some way what happened? Though they brought many changes, the people were not obeying to them as before when they ruled them. So slowly what they thought, so somehow we have to convince the people and we have to keep the people under us, means we have to do some favors for the people. That was the thought of the kings at that time. So slowly what they did, okay, don't worry, we are there to help you, we kings have what a care for you. So the serfdom and the bonded labor was the very crucial problem that the peasants and artisans were facing at that time. So the serfdom and bonded labor were abolished. Okay, so we'll see the next unit, the making of Germany, in the next class. Anyway, thank you all for listening. I just want you to read the whole unit so that you could get good clarification, and please note down the important points of the lesson, which I'll be asking you in the next class. Okay. Thank you, children. Have a great day.